welcome to Hatoraid Hour, a new video podcast series on my channel. And if this is your first time visiting the channel, my name is Jordan, and I'm Hatoraid Cowboy, and this is my channel, Hatoraid Cowboy Cinema. And thank you very much for supporting the channel. Thank you very much for supporting this podcast. This is a new series, as I mentioned, and I'm going to try to grow and evolve it the best that I can. If you watched episode 1, I was in a little bit of a different setting. Didn't really work for me that much, so I decided to just go back to my regular setting. But for future reference, I am going to be building or configuring my garage into part of my garage into a office/studio where I'm going to have much better control, much better space to make videos, to make video podcasts. So stick with me. Like I said, I'm going to try to grow and evolve the podcast series as much as I can. This is episode 2, and what we're going to be talking about is Emotiva once again, because Emotiva just recently officially released on the website 4 new products. So they released the Airmotiv A2 Plus, which is a height, surround, and ceiling speaker. They have the B2 Plus, which is a bookshelf speaker. They have the T3 Plus, which is a tower speaker, and then they have their massive large format center channel, the C3 Plus. And I was actually able to see all of these speakers at the Texas Audio Roundup in Austin, Texas, about a little bit over a week ago. Awesome experience. My first time visiting any type of trade show. Technically, it's not a trade show. They don't charge you admission. It's free to get in. And I think that was an awesome format because it was a lot smaller. There was some other companies there. It was hosted by Emotiva and Skit Audio. But that was my first experience, so I've never actually been to a trade show. But it was perfect because it was very small. It wasn't overcrowded. They weren't trying to sell you anything. And you just got to enjoy the experience. I got to meet Dan. I got to interview him. He talked about some new products. I have a video on my channel if you want to go watch that. And everyone at Emotiva was just absolutely nice, awesome. I'm glad I got to meet them. I got to meet Nick, which is the content creator or content manager, I believe. And I actually became an Emotiva affiliate, and actually it's official now. So I'm going to start getting some products on the channel to review for you guys, and I'm super excited about that. But as I said, we are going to discuss the new speakers, so I wanted to go over those with you because they actually have the specs online now. They didn't have the specs at the Texas Audio Roundup. They just had the speakers on display. I got to see those. So let's go ahead and jump into the new speakers. First, let's take a look at the Airmotiv A2 Plus height speaker. So I've got some information that's directly from Emotiva. So the A2 Plus, the Airmotiv A2 Plus is a two-way loudspeaker featuring a 32mm Airmotiv folded ribbon tweeter and a 5.5-inch woven fiber woofer, which can be used as a wall-mounted direct firing surround sound or height channel speaker, or as a ceiling-mounted direct firing height speaker. The A2 Plus also features easy secure mounting system, which includes a solid steel mounting bracket for secure mounting in both wall and ceiling installations. It's designed to work perfectly with both standard surround sound systems and the new immersive surround sound systems like Dolby Atmos and DTS-X, and a wide variety of listening room conditions. So let's take a look. So here we have the Airmotiv A2 Plus surround sound ceiling speaker. So we'll click here and we'll take a look at the pictures. So there's the front of the speaker. You've got your woofer, and then you've got your ribbon tweeter. And on the back, it looks like you've got gold-plated binding posts. Yeah, gold-plated binding posts. There's both of them in a dual configuration. So as was mentioned, you can use these as surrounds or you can use them as height speakers. So I assume most people who are going to be buying these speakers are going to be using them for a Dolby Atmos or DTS-X setup. And I guess if you wanted, you could use this for one of these speakers. I don't know why you would only use one, but if you had an RO3D setup, you could use one of those as, a voice of God channel on your ceiling. But I assume most people are probably going to be using these in a dual configuration, either as surrounds or as heights. Now you can mount them on the wall like you see here, or you can mount them on your ceiling because they're dual purpose. So that's pretty cool that they have them. A lot of companies are starting to make these dual purpose Atmos speakers. And it looks like you might even be able to use these as up-firing speakers on top of a bookshelf speaker, maybe the T3 Plus. I don't know. All right, so let's look at the specs now. So specs, and that is going to be down here. All right, so it's a two-way wall or ceiling mounted surround or height channel speaker in a sealed configuration. It has a high frequency driver, 32 millimeter folded ribbon tweeter, 5.5-inch woven fiber cone, can't talk, and efficiency 85 decibels. So it's a little bit more sensitive than, you know, your average speaker. I think standard sensitivity is around 87 decibels. So kind of sensitive. Power handling 80 watts continuous or 150 watts peak. So that's about standard for a surround channel or, you know, a Dolby Atmos configuration. You don't need a lot of power to drive those because they're not like your LCR where most of your dynamic sounds and objects are going to be coming from your front soundstage, where you might need more power. Usually you require more power for that, especially if you have, you know, big big floor standing speakers for that. So that's pretty good. But 150 watts, I mean, that's going to get you some really clean sound coming out of those speakers. And then it's a 4-ohm speaker, which I'm actually surprised for surround sound and Dolby Atmos height speaker. So 4 ohms, it's gonna be a little bit harder to drive than an 8-ohm speaker, but it should sound really good. It should be, you know, fairly efficient. Like I said, it's 85 decibels, so it's still a little sensitive, but 4 ohms, it should balance it out. And frequency response is 70 hertz to 28 kilohertz, plus or minus 3 dB. Dimensions is 12.5 inches high, 7.5 inches wide, and 8.5 inches deep, and unboxed it weighs 8.8 pounds. And for mounting, as was mentioned, there's an easy secure mounting system with a solid steel mounting bracket for secure attachment to wall or ceiling. And as far as your grill, I don't think it's magnetic. So it looks like it's a black cloth over a rigid frame and attaches securely with mechanical snap connectors. So yeah, I would have liked to see these speakers have magnetic grills. Some of their other speakers do, but I'm sure that probably will have driven up the cost. I don't think it doesn't seem like it would have cost that much more to include magnetic speakers or magnetic grills on the speaker, but you never know. But I wanted to go back and look at the mounting system because I don't believe it's your typical mounting system. Like, there's no keyhole on this. Yeah, so it says it comes with some brackets, and I believe SVS kind of has the same type of deal with their height speakers. It comes with a pretty legit bracket system. So I guess it's going to be the same with this. So it doesn't look like you can mount this with just your standard, you know, keyhole mounting bracket. So, but better quality, because I always felt like keyhole mounting brackets, I never found those to be very good. I never was able to get those to be level, you know. So I'm sure this is going to be something that's going to be a lot better than your standard keyhole. All right, let's take a look at the B2 Plus. So we have the B2 Plus here. And again, I'll read the information from Emotiva. So the Airmotiv B2 Plus is a two-way monitor loudspeaker, and you can use it equally at home on a sturdy bookcase or stand, featuring a 32 millimeter Airmotiv folded ribbon tweeter and a 6.5-inch woven fiber woofer. The Airmotiv B2 Plus is ideal for use in a small, high-quality 2-channel system and has plenty of low-frequency output to sound great in a small room without the need for a subwoofer. The Airmotiv B2 Plus also works well as a surround speaker in a home theater system where you prefer not to use wall-mounted speakers. All right, so let's take a look. So there's your speaker, and it comes in a pair, I believe. Yeah, so pair of bookshelf loudspeakers for $449. And the Airmotiv height speakers are $3.99 for a pair. So very, very cost effective. That's one thing that I've always loved about Emotiva is they give you very high quality products that can either rival or even surpass some other companies, and you get better performance, but you don't spend the same amount of money. So great job, Emotiva. So we'll go back and look at the pictures again. So there's your funny speaker, your ribbon tweeter, your woofer, and then once again, gold binding posts. So the texture on this is interesting, and I believe the Cheap Audio Man reviewed this speaker, and he mentioned that, and you can tell here in the picture a little bit, but it looks like they went for kind of like a leathery look on this. Now, I didn't get a chance to feel these speakers to see what it felt like at the Texas Audio Roundup, but yeah, it looks like it has a somewhat leathery style, so I'm assuming it's a vinyl wrap still, but I'm not really sure what type of materials they use to wrap the speaker, and I don't believe these are wood. I don't think these are like wood cabinets or anything like that. But let's see here. Okay, and then you've got your woofer. And then, so these are actually ported. So this is a ported bookshelf speaker. So you're not going to want to put these directly up to the wall if you're having them on a bookshelf or you have them on a stand. You're going to want to give yourself some space between the speaker and the wall so you can leave room for that air to come out of that port. And then you have some nice gold-plated binding posts. So I like that. All right, so let's take a look at the specs. So 32mm Airmotiv folded ribbon tweeter, 6.5-inch woven fiber cone, efficiency 86 decibels, so just a little bit more efficient than the height speakers, the A2 Plus. 125 watts continuous for power handling and 200 watts peak. Recommended amplifier power 50 watts to 300 watts. So if you've got a beefy amplifier, these things are going to be able to handle that. Again, 4 ohms, and frequency response is 40 hertz to 28 kilohertz. So that's pretty low for a bookshelf speaker. 40 hertz, that's legit. I would still encourage you to use a subwoofer. I imagine anybody who's buying these speakers to use in a home theater, multi-channel surround sound, more than likely you're going to be using a subwoofer. I would not rely just on these speakers to give you adequate bass, and that's the case with any speaker. But if you're a 2-channel guy and you plan on just using these bookshelf speakers in a 2-channel setup without a sub, 40 hertz should give you enough output and enough bass to where, you'll be content. I would still I'm a sub guy, I love subs, and I don't listen to a whole lot of 2-channel music. I am going to start doing that more as I get more speakers to review. Currently, I'm reviewing some Yamaha bookshelf speakers, and I'm going to test those in a 2-channel setup. So, but 40 hertz is really good for a bookshelf speaker, especially at this price point. All right, crossover, woofer, 2 kilohertz, tweeter, 12 decibel octave. Dimensions 12 3/4 inches high, 8.5 inches wide, and 11.5 inches deep. And unboxed, they weigh 15.6 pounds. They can be shelf or stand mounted. And on the grill, these do have magnetic grills. So it's a black cloth over a rigid frame and attaches securely with powerful magnets for easy removal. So it's nice that they did include the magnetic grills. And again, I think the Cheap Audio Man showed that on his video when he reviewed the B2 Plus bookshelf speakers. All right, so let's take a look at the T3 Plus. This is one of the speakers that a lot of people have been excited about. I think this speaker is going to sell really well. Even hearing the people at the Texas Audio Roundup, everyone was excited about this speaker. And I actually got to listen to these speakers in a 2-channel setup at the Texas Audio Roundup. They had a 2-channel room, and I didn't really get to spend a whole lot of time in that room. I didn't really get to listen to them extensively because, one, it was an open space, so that's not really conducive to, reviewing a speaker. And there was people walking in and out, they were talking, they were eating. So I didn't really get to stay in there very long. But what I did hear sounded very, very good. And that was actually my first time experiencing ribbon tweeters. So I'm hoping that at some point I can get the T3 Plus into my home theater to review for myself and for you guys, because I'm super excited about those. These look very, very good. I think you're going to like these. I think a lot of people are going to, I think these things are going to fly off the shelf. So the T3 Plus, it's a 3-way floor standing tower loudspeaker featuring a 32mm Airmotiv folded ribbon tweeter, dual 5¼ inch woven fiber mid-ranges, and 3 8-inch woven fiber woofers. The Airmotiv T3 Plus can be used in an audiophile stereo setup or as a main front speaker and a home theater installation, or you can use a full set of Airmotiv T3 Pluses as a basis of an unsurpassed home theater installation. And if you have T3 Pluses as your LCR and as your surrounds, man, you're going to have a killer system, because these speakers look legit. So let's take a look. So we've got the T3 Plus. So there's your 3 woofers and then your 2 mid-range woofers and your tweeter. So we'll click on that. And let's look at the back. So these are going to actually have dual binding posts, so you can biamp these if you want. Now, I fiddled with biamping before in the past, years ago. I didn't really see much of a difference. And as someone in the comments mentioned, it could be because my speakers are more efficient, so I didn't really notice the difference. I don't know. I just know that I tried it. I couldn't tell a difference. So I've read that biamping is really most beneficial at like concerts where you've got massive speakers and they're trying to cover a humongous distance for everyone that's there, and it makes more sense to split up the low and high frequencies, because you get better output that way. And that's, as far as I know, that's really the only benefit of doing that. In a home theater setup, I've heard that it's not really that effective. You can do it, maybe you do experience a difference, but if I get these speakers, I probably won't utilize the biamping feature. But it's nice to know that if you do care about those things, and you're a stickler for biamping and you really believe in it, you have the option. And they're gold plated as well. So then we have a couple more pictures. So there they are. And again, I saw these in the 2-channel setup. I have video of them in some of my other videos in my first podcast. If you want to go see the video of that, you can go check that out on my channel. All right, let's take a look at the specs here. All right, so it has dual rear ports, 3-way floor standing speaker, 32mm ribbon tweeter, 2 5¼ inch woven fiber cones, 3 8-inch woven fiber cones. Efficiency, 91 decibels. So these are considerably more efficient than the bookshelf speakers. The bookshelf speakers were 86, so that's good that these are more efficient. Power handling, 250 watts continuous, 500 watts peak. So if you're using one of Emotiva's monoblocks, that goes up to 500, or I think 600 watts is the most that it goes up to, you're going to get some pretty nice quality out of this speaker. Recommended amplifier power, 100 watts or more. And once again, 4 ohms, nominal impedance, frequency response, 22 hertz to 28 kilohertz plus or minus 3 dB, crossover mid-range tweeter 2.8 kilohertz, crossover woofer mid-range 350 hertz, dual speaker terminals for biamping or bi-wiring, and dimensions are 49.5 inches high, 12.5 inches wide, and 17 inches deep, and they weigh 85 pounds on box, so pretty hefty speaker. And I don't know why you would mount these. Well, okay, so it's not talking about mounting the actual speaker, but it says permanently attached outrigger feet with rubber pads and detachable adjustable spikes included. I don't know why that's on the mounting section, because that has nothing to do with mounting, but it's nice that they give you the option between rubber pads or spikes if you have carpet. And then the grill is a black cloth over a rigid frame and attaches securely with powerful magnets for easy removal. All right, so let's take a look at the C3 Plus, which is what I'm excited about because I saw this in person and my goodness, this thing is massive. It is a beast. It is very, very intimidating for a speaker. That was the biggest center channel speaker that I've ever seen. I thought my center channel was big because I upgraded from a Polk CS, I forget the model. But right now I have the LSI series center channel. Their top of the line series, there's top of the line center channel that they don't make anymore. That thing is big. The C3 Plus is like 2, maybe even more times bigger than that. It's just absolutely massive. And I got super excited when I saw it because I'm like, man, I would love to get the chance to demo that in my room. So hopefully I can get that as well. Maybe I can get a C3 Plus and a pair of T3 Pluses and test that out as an LCR. But this is what I'm most excited about, the C3 Plus. So the C3 Plus is a 3-way center channel loudspeaker featuring a 32mm Airmotiv folded ribbon tweeter, dual 5¼ woven fiber mid-range drivers, and 4 6.5-inch woven fiber woofers. The C3 Plus is designed to be used as a center channel speaker in high-end home theater installations. So when I saw this speaker, obviously it's designed to be a center channel speaker, but I don't know if you can stand it up on its side, but I would think that you could use this thing as an LCR. It's that huge. Again, I don't know if it's designed that way, if it's multi-purpose and you can do that, if you can find some way to mount it on its side and stand it up, but man, let's take a look. So the C3 Plus. So this has dual binding posts again. And then we have our, man, that's a beautiful speaker too. And I imagine as many drivers as this thing has, it can probably go down to 40, maybe even 30 hertz. We'll take a look at the specs, but this thing is absolutely massive. Just pictures, you can't understand the scale of how big the center channel is until you see it in person. And even in the pictures that I took, you get a better scale because they had them stacked. They had the C3 Plus and they had the C2 Plus on top of that, and then they had the C1 or C1 Plus, I don't remember what it's called. So you got very good scale, but seeing it in person is just absolutely amazing. I am super, super excited about this. So specs. All right, let's go to specs and download. So it's rear ported. It's a 3-way center channel speaker. 32mm ribbon tweeter. Again, 5¼ woven fiber cones. There's 4 6.5-inch woven fiber cones. Efficiency 92 decibels. So this one is even more efficient than the T3 Plus because I believe the T3 Plus was 91. Yeah. So very efficient loudspeaker, and makes sense because as many drivers as it has, it better be efficient. Power handling, 200 watts continuous, 350 watts peak. I would have expected that to be a little bit more, but hey, that's no slouch. Recommended amplifier power, 75 watts to 400 watts. That's what I'm talking about, 400 watts for your center channel. 4 ohms. So it looks like all their new speakers are 4 ohms. Frequency response. So yeah, 40 hertz to 28 kilohertz. I'm actually surprised that doesn't go a little bit deeper as many drivers as it has. And plus or minus 3 dB. So I like to think, and obviously we have to take Emotiva's word for it, but I'd like to think that if you have this center channel speaker in your home theater and you have, the perfect size room, correct layout, and you've got acoustic treatment, well placed acoustic treatment, I would think that as many drivers as this thing has, it might go lower than 40 hertz. Obviously, your room and so many other factors go into that, But if you've got the perfect situation and you run calibration on there, I'm thinking that this thing might go dip down below 40 hertz. I don't know if it's going to be very efficient at that, if it goes below 40 hertz, but I mean, it's 92 decibels for the efficiency. So I'm super, super excited about this speaker, guys. It just looks absolutely amazing. Just massive beast. And let's see. So yeah, dual binding post for biamping or bi-wiring. 8 5/8 inches high, 54 3/4 inches wide, 12 1/4 inches deep. That's super deep. That's a whole foot. My goodness. And 60 pounds unboxed. Yeah, this Emotiva knocks it out of the park, man. They have a way of developing and designing quality speakers that most of the times, bang for your buck, you get much better deal than speakers costing 3 times this much. And so let's see what the price was on this. So this is $899, so $900. So for an LCR, if you went with the center channel, $900, and the T3 Plus, $1,900. So you're looking at $2,800 for LCR, which is very, very considerate. Considerate's not the right word. I'm thinking of, I don't know what I'm thinking of right now. My brain is overloaded with awesomeness from these Airmotiv line of speakers. So there you have it. There's your 4 speakers. Your Airmotiv A2 Plus, your B2 Plus bookshelf, your T3 Plus, your floor standing, and your center channel C3 Plus. So as I mentioned before, I am now officially an Emotiva affiliate. So that means that I'm going to be able to start requesting gear and equipment to get in the channel. And this is what I've been waiting for. I created this channel because I love home theater. I'm a home theater enthusiast, and I wanted an opportunity to basically to play with toys that I may never ever get to buy or get my hands on. And now I have the opportunity possibly to do both, because I'm thinking about upgrading one of my amplifiers. And as I talked about in episode 1 of this podcast series, I'm completely sold on Emotiva because I saw what kind of company they are firsthand. Dan is just an awesome CEO owner. Dude gave away a whole bunch of stuff. And that's how you treat your customers. You treat your customers in a way that shows that you appreciate them. He didn't charge you to get into the show. And just for being there, he had a raffle and he gave away somewhere around probably $10,000 to $15,000 worth of equipment just for being there, just for showing up. So awesome company. And yeah, so I'm an Emotiva affiliate. Also, I did create a Patreon account. So you can go there, check it out. There's not a whole lot of content on there, but I'm going to be posting content specifically for patrons that sign up. And if you do sign up, it's greatly appreciated. I'm going to try to provide the best content possible. Again, stick with my podcast series. It's brand new. I'm still thinking of ideas to grow and evolve it. So if you guys have any thoughts, any ideas about how to improve the podcast, then let me know. And again, I want you guys to be involved as well, because I'm going to be getting equipment into review. You guys might have questions, specific questions, maybe things that you want me to test. If I can test it, if I do have the equipment and the time to test it, I will absolutely do that to give you guys the most data for you to make a good buying decision. And again, I appreciate everyone's support so far. So HatoraidHour@gmail.com. Use that email to send me your questions, your concerns, your inquiries, and anything that I can do to help on this channel, on this podcast series, I will do that. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in episode 3 podcast Hatoraid Hour.